Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the State Game Commission meeting here in Los Alamos. I hereby call this meeting to order. Director Sloan, please call the roll.
Commissioner Witt. Commissioner Lopez.
Here.
Commissioner Clemente.
Here.
Vice Chair Hickey. Chair Stump.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Director Sloan. Next, we have introduction of guests. I'll start with the commissioners, and then we'll go around the room. I'll follow by those online if we have anybody. Commissioner Witt, can we start with you?
I'm Commissioner Witt. I'm the newest commissioner, and I'm from District 5, Bernalillo County, and also a professor at the University of New Mexico.
Good morning. I'm Tercio Lopez. I'd like to welcome everybody to District 3 of the State Game Commission jurisdictional map. Welcome to Los Alamos. I'm from the great county of Rio Arriba, just north of here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sharon Salazar Hickey. I'm the vice chair of the commission, formerly chair of the commission. I've been here for almost, I think it's 5 years, and it's an honor to serve on the commission. And I want to say where I'm from. I am from New Mexico. Santa Fe is my home, but so is Los Alamos. I worked here for 40 years in this beautiful city and went to high school and grade school. And so this is also home. Northern New Mexico, all of New Mexico is home. And I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you that are here today about yourselves. Thank you.
Richard Stump, I'm chair of the commission. I'm a native New Mexican from Santa Fe. Thank you for being here.
Fernando Clemente. I am a commissioner at large, and I am from the South, Sunland Park, New Mexico.
Morning, everyone. Mike Sloan, Director of the Department of Game and Fish.
Good morning, commissioners, members of the public. Stuart Lively, Chief of Wildlife for the department.
Good morning, commissioners, members of the public. My name is Paul Varela. I'm the Chief of Administrative Services for the Department of Game and Fish.
Morning, I'm Daniel Tepte. I'm a Los Alamos resident.
Good morning, commissioners, members of the public. My name is Colonel Tim Simbel with the Field Operations Division.
Good morning. I'm Garth Reeder, Los Alamos resident.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, commissioners. Jesse Dubell, Executive Director of the New Mexico Wildlife Federation.
Good morning, commissioners. I'm Kirk Patton, Chief of Fisheries for the department.
Good morning, commissioners. Lieutenant Sean Carroll over revocations.
Hi, I'm Charlie Trask. I'm a native Los Alamos resident.
Hi, Tony Flora, attorney for Los Alamos National Laboratory.
Morning, commissioners, members of the public. I'm Jeremy Martin. I'm the department's general counsel.
Good morning, commissioners, members of the public. I'm Andrew Gildersleeve, Deputy General Counsel of the department.
Good morning, Janet Anelli. I'm on the board of Bosque del Apache, Friends of Bosque del Apache in Socorro. I live up here.
Lindsay Mesa, application developer for Game and Fish.
Darren Vaughn, Communications Director for Game and Fish.
Good morning, commissioners and public. I'm Kurt Kaufman, Assistant Chief of Education.
Good morning, commissioners and members of the public. Tristana Carroll. I am the Chief of the Information Education Division, and we currently have seven people online. I'm going to start with Mark Matini. Mark, you are unmuted.
Good morning, members of the council and the public. My name is Mark Matini. I'm from live in Powati Village, Laguna Pueblo.
Mark, it seems like we're having a problem with your speaker. Do you mind? I'm going to unmute you and then allow you to talk again.
Okay, how's that? All right. Can you hear me now? Hmm.
Mr. Chairman, it looks like that was the only hand that's raised, so we can come back to Mark if we're able to get his speaker working. I take that back. We have one more person that has raised their hand, so we will go over to JS Cohen. You are allowed to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good morning. My name is Janet Cohen. I'm an educator in New Mexico, and I live in rural southern Santa Fe County.
Thank you very much. Next, we will go to Joe Utes.
Good morning to members of the public. Is Joe Utes, PhD candidate in the Department of Fish, Wildlife, Ecology, and Geography at New Mexico State.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Ernesto. Ernesto, can you unmute your microphone, please?
How about now? Sorry about that.
We can hear you.
Ernesto Nunez, live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, born in Las Cruces, lived around the state throughout my life, other places around the world, but an avid outdoorsman, first time joining this meeting. Good morning and thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Chairman, that is everyone with their hands raised.
Thank you, Tristana. Thank you, everybody. Item number 4 is the approval of the agenda. Commissioners, is there any discussion? Can I have a motion to approve?
Actually, I do have a question. In agenda, Mr. Chair, commissioners, members of the public, on agenda item number 12, I noticed that there is nothing in the executive session about the evaluation of the director. Might we be able to add an agenda item on the evaluation of the director? Please? I don't know if there's an objection. It won't take long, just a few minutes.
Yeah, I have no objection. Anybody else? No? Okay.
Director, how would we add that? Would it be C, item C? Pursuant to section 10-15-1H, I believe, is it 8? NMSA 1978. I can't recall the citation, but, or do we need to? Can we just say it's just a brief evaluation of the director?
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, I guess I would recommend that you approve the agenda with the addition of a evaluation of the director pursuant to the exception allowed under 10-15-1 NMSA 1978, since none of us can remember exactly what the number is. I think that would be sufficient.
Thank you, Director, and thank you, Mr. Chair. Is that a motion, Director?
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, I think it's one you could adopt if you'd like.
I will second that motion.
I think you would say so moved, and then somebody else would have to second.
Oh, so moved. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Mr. Chair, I think we need a second.
I thought we had a second. Did we not have a second?
I will.
I made
To
the
second them.
Second.
Jeez. Okay, is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. No opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 5, approval of the consent agenda. Mr. Director, can you please provide us with a brief summary?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. As you can see, the minutes from the August 28th, 2025 meeting are included in the packet. I think that's self-evident. For revocations, we had given you notice that we suspended 232 individuals for parental responsibility. 249 were suspended for failure to pay a penalty assessment. 9 with civil agreements or judgments, and then there are 50 revocations. We mailed notices to those people and they did not request a hearing. Those are in your book in the table. The next item on the consent agenda is the disposal list. State Parks has received funding to do repairs and replacements to facilities at Cimarron Canyon State Park. There are 2 wastewater treatment packages there and 4 comfort stations that have been there since the 70s. They would like to remove those, and in an abundance of caution, since we can't find them on inventory, we would ask that we officially just dispose of them. So that's what those items are. And then the annual depredation report as required by law is also in your booklets. As you can see, bears were the #1 complaint this past year, followed by cougar, raccoon, on down the list. We have a 99.7% resolution rate. And with that, I think we can stand for any questions.
Thank you, Director Sloan. Commissioners, do you have anything that you'd like to discuss regarding any of these items?
You mean, Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, do we have questions about any of the items 1, 2, 3, or 4? Is that the
Yes.
question? Was Colonel Tim Simbal prepared to answer any questions about the revocations?
I think he is.
Okay, I have some. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I brought a backup in case I don't know all the details.
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, Colonel Simbal, members of the public, I'm very concerned about what I received and with the commissioners. I don't know if they have the same concerns. What you presented to us today, agenda item number 5.2, you stated that, and if you were planning on speaking to this, or do you want me to speak to it?
What are you wanting to speak on?
Well, I will, what I read from your statement, you said that there are 232 individuals certified by the Human Services Department as being out of compliance with the Parent Responsibility Act that were suspended until in compliance. 249 individuals who failed to pay a penalty assessment citation within 30 days of the violation. They were suspended until they are in compliance. And 3, there are 9 individuals who have entered into a civil agreement or have a civil judgment. And I thank you, Colonel Simbal, because you included in our material detailed information in a memo to the director describing all of those cases. When I did an analysis, I was very troubled because I saw on some of those instances, half of them were from out of state. In other groupings, at least 20% or more were also from out of state. In particular, the heinous crimes I can say crimes because they were tried in court, were so troubling on how they had such disrespect for animals. They were heinous. And so I bring that up. I didn't want to gloss over this particular agenda item because I think the commissioners, the department, and the members of our public need to be aware of that. And specifically, I'm going to throw this out. One, can we receive trending information? What do I mean by trending information? Throughout my tenure on the commission, you routinely bring to the commission revocations. Today, it seems like a spike. So, Director and Colonel Symbol, could we begin to see maybe an analysis of these revocations over a period of time? And if we could receive it before our next meeting to the commissioners, I think that would be very helpful.
Chair, Madam Vice Chair, yes, of course, we're happy to do that. I think one of the things you're seeing here is that it's been a gap of time between the commission meetings, so they pile up a little bit versus when we have more frequent meetings, you see fewer. So I think that's part of the big number. The other thing is the suspensions are, I don't think that's a hugely unusual number for us. Again, part of the reason it's a little bit larger is because of the time between. But I think that those suspensions are 2 or 3 memos worth, so we do look at those monthly. So if you look at the monthly ones, the number's relatively smaller. And those we're just providing a notice of the suspensions. They're sort of an administrative process. The 50 revocations are the ones that you're really approving today. And again, those are, I think, look larger because of the gap between the commission meetings.
And
And
Chair and, oh, go ahead. Chair and Vice Chair, I will point out, so a few years back, we changed rule where if an individual accrues 40 or more revocation points within that 3-year period, that it allows us as a department to make a recommendation to you. So you're seeing for the first time us making 3 recommendations to you of enhanced penalties because of the egregiousness of those crimes that we felt it needed more years.
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Colonel Tim Symbol, I recognize that. And I did see that we were receiving a number since our last, it's been several months. But it was just so troubling. And if you don't mind me taking just a few minutes, I would like to read into the record because this is public information so that the members of the public understand the severity of this case. It's one example, but I want you to hear it. Officers responded to a call about a possible poaching incident near Las Vegas, New Mexico. 4 elk were found lying in a field, and one of the 4 elk was shot in the spine and was still alive. While on the scene, officers contacted a man named, and I think it's okay to say the name because this is a public record in the 4th Judicial District of New Mexico. A man named Lester Grimmett on the property from Mississippi. Lester did not have a hunting license and admitted to having shot all 4 elk and left the elk to waste. During the investigation, he stated the following. He saw a herd of elk bunched up in the field. He shot approximately 8 times. After shooting the elk, he drove to Walmart to buy an elk license. And when he arrived, he was told that the state game wardens was on the farm. So he did not buy a hunting license. He was shooting at the large 7x7 bull elk and hit 3 other elk before hitting the target. He admitted to shooting all 4 elk, and he knows he shot the 7x7 bull elk 2 times in the butt. He said he was shooting bolt-action rifle, quote, pretty stinking fast. He moved to the opposite end of the field near a house, reloaded, and shot about 4 more rounds. Each round was loaded one at a time. He said, quote, this bull, see, I don't even know where this bull came from. I mean, evidently, I shot him, end quote. Referring to the 5x6 bull elk that was still alive, he stated, quote, I'm responsible for all this. Quote, I screwed up, end quote. He did not walk to any of the elk because he heard a man holler at him saying, hey, referring to someone residing in the house. He shot and hit the bull elk in the butt twice because he said that's all he could see. After the man hollered at him, he decided he needed to get a license. He admitted to seeing at least 3 of the 4 dead elk after the shooting. Officers asked him if he had the casings and if he picked them up from the final location where he shot. He said, quote, I didn't. I chucked them. Officers asked him where he threw them. He said somewhere between here and Walmart, which is about 2 miles away. Officers asked him what he was thinking after seeing the dead elk. He said, quote, I was F blank. He said, honestly, I go home tomorrow and I didn't want to spend the money, hit or miss. And that's the honest truth, end quote. He said, quote, I started to get one yesterday evening and the elk have either been here or not. So I was trying to cheat. Well, let's be honest. I was trying to cheat the system, and that's the truth, end quote. I thank you, Colonel Tim Symbol, and I thank you, Officer Sean, for the great work that the game wardens, the field officers are doing. To summarize, he entered a plea agreement with the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office and pleaded guilty to 2 of the 11 charges. He received 728 days of probation and paid $0 in fine. The department is seeking civil restitution. Thank you, attorneys. Although Mr. Grimlett was found guilty of 2 charges, he still admitted to committing the other 9 violations, which would have accumulated to 180 points. Due to the egregious wildlife violations he has committed, the department is recommending a 10-year revocation for Mr. Grimlett. I had to read that into the record because I was shocked. I was upset when I read it, and I'm still upset when I read about it, or as I read it now today. Forgive me for the emotion. So, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Director Sloan, Colonel Tim, where I am going is it's important to see a trend. I think everything that you have proposed to the department is good in terms of the fairness and consistency in how we address these revocations, but I would like to see a trend. And Director, if you think it's more appropriate that we receive them on a regular basis instead of waiting for a chunk of period of time. And when you do the trending, maybe a month at a time, because the trending, why would we want to do this? The trending might help. For example, we have a Department of Education sitting here in the room today. I don't know if there's a need to improve or target certain areas of education. 2, our management of the animals. Is there something else that we can do? I don't know. I'm just throwing these out. So that is where I am coming from. And I'm sorry I took up so much time. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Hickey. And I understand your alarm in this situation. This is one of the ones that got my attention, as well as 2 others. The recommendation for that was 10 years, but it seems like that's 10 years is kind of easy penalty for something that severe. I recommend we give them 15 years. I don't know how you all feel about that, but that's a pretty.
There's 40 points listed on the revocation list, but didn't you say that he earned more points than 40?
Chair, commissioners, that's the ones that he received through the court process. So he was found guilty on 220s to make 40, but it was, he did all of it, right? But there's plea agreements and the way the court process works where he wasn't found guilty on all of them. So if he was found guilty on all of them, it would have been that 100 and something points.
180.
Chair, to me, he did harvest or kill, actually didn't harvest, obviously poached, 4 animals, if I'm correct.
Yes, sir.
For me, the impact is not just the animal itself. It's what you do to the population. It's what you do to reproduction, right? It's a lot bigger than just for elk. And to me, I'm sorry, but to me, 10 years for each of the animals that he was poached. That's my recommendation to the commission.
And Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, I will point out, Mississippi is a wildlife compact state. So if he is revoked here, he will subsequently be revoked there as well as pretty much every other state in the US. So he will not, it's not like he's only going to not be able to hunt here in New Mexico. It will affect him in his home state. Please.
He had the potentially of violating the Lacey Act, right? If he wouldn't have been caught.
Chair, Vice Chair, he never possessed any of these. In the Lacey Act, there's a lot of aspects to the Lacey Act. The major one that we look at is transportation between jurisdictional lines. So if it leaves tribal, goes on tribal, leaves state, federal, things of that nature. So not really with this one, just pretty much outright poaching.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner, I think your question was, had he not been caught? And had he not been caught and taken those animals and gone back home to Mississippi, yes, there would be a Lacey Act violation.
Absolutely.
That's all I had.
Commissioners, anybody else have any feelings on the recommendation for?
And I think Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, Colonel Simbal, I had another point, not just about the trending, but the second thing is what caught my eye were the number of people from out of state. And I think members of the public who are here present today and those who are not present today have raised a concern about non-residents. And so that is now on my radar screen, FYI. And when you do the trending analysis, Director and Colonel Tim Simbal, if you could continue to indicate the state from which these, or a general area, if you're just giving us a trending analysis in the periods, maybe include how many of them are a percentage, maybe 50% are residents and 50% are non-residents, or 80% resident, non-resident 20, whatever. I think those are 2 important factors to look at when we see a trending analysis.
And Chair, Vice Chair, we can probably do you one better, not just the revocation data, but we could do a presentation of just violations. We track all of that. So I can show you how many violators are residents versus non-residents.
Thank you. I like that. Maybe at the next meeting, or maybe we continue to start doing that trending analysis with the revocations. That would be very helpful. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, but if I may, I just as a reminder to the commission, you do have the authority to change the recommendation. It's ultimately your decision based on your feelings about how egregious the crimes were. So certainly anything that's been put out here today is well within your purview to determine. Just wanted to make that clear.
And that being said, I recommended 15 years. Commissioner Clemente recommended 40. Does anybody else have any feelings?
I think a compromise at 20 seems like a good idea.
Commissioner Lopez.
I do have the case report. There's a couple supplementals with it. And I just have one copy.
Mr. Chair, I think that the case report is largely what Vice Chair read into the record.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Chair, Vice Chair, we're pretty familiar with any of them. If you just want to give us to give a synopsis rather than reading, it's up to you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Director Sloan, and Colonel Symbol, while Commissioner Lopez reviews the file, I'd like to hear your thoughts on changing the number of years from 10 to 40, or maybe possibly 20. What are your thoughts on that?
Chair, Vice Chair, I mean, all of the officers, we do a lot of training to get ahead of the game. And when we do catch these people, I feel honestly, we do a lot. There's been a lot of studies that like 4% of true poachers are actually caught because, right, they're in the forest. It's not like you're speeding down the streets or in the middle of a city. You're in a different game board where you're doing these kinds of crimes. So when we do catch them, do make a good case on it. As you see, we're cutting out here. As you can see what the court did with it, not very much. So that's another thing that we contend with. Our officers do an awful lot of hard work, and it's, it kind of catches you off guard and sentence occurs. It's not a very big penalty. That's the beauty of this administrative process and working with you to be able to have a true penalty that affects a person, because taking away hunting and fishing privileges across the country is a pretty severe one. They can walk away and get a couple $100 in fines. It means nothing, but we together just go at recommending more years as per our recommendation. I like that we did change that, so we'll continue to do that on these egregious ones. But I'm totally in support on what the commission today.
Mr. Chair, Colonel Symbol, could you talk maybe a little bit about how we got to 10 years and what the process is for your recommendations?
Yeah, so obviously the typical is a 3-year period when they accrue 20 or more points in a 3-year period. This individual accrued and was convicted of 40 points. So a lot of what we do revolves around what we've had in the past. And since we generally haven't made a department recommendation yet, it's egregious in nature. 10 years is a long time. 40, 20, any of those years are a long time. But we basically came to this, based it similarly on what we've had in the past. We have had commissioners, previous commissions recommend similar to this, but we've also had previous commissioners recommend and pass 99 years for revocation. So, I mean, we fell on the 10 for 2 individuals that we made recommendations, and the third was for 5. But we based it on, we lost 4 animals that belong to the people here in New Mexico, the state of New Mexico. So we felt it was egregious enough to go with 10, but certainly open to more.
One thing that comes to mind is I don't think this individual actually premeditated something like this. I can't say for certain, but it seems as though he saw something and I don't know if he's hunted elk before, but he just got really excited and started shooting, which is completely wrong. But I have to look at that as well. I mean,
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, he had a gun. He was prepared to hunt. I'm sorry to say, I think based on the facts, he had an intent of hunting. And to start shooting when you see those animals, whether it was like that or, you know, he was prepared. Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, Colonel, and members of the public. I think the 10-year is fine. I do think that there has been some justice. He's been to court. He has paid. There's been some restitution. What struck me is when Colonel Simbal said that there's some reciprocity with the home state of Mississippi and the impact that it's going to have. 10 years is a lot of time, and we typically go with 3 to 5 years. And I think, Mr. Chair, to go beyond 10 years, I think that's, and plus all that he's done with the court system.
Mr. Chair, if may I have a comment on a question regarding that. You mentioned something about that he got excited and he started shooting. Well, what bothers me is I'm a hunter. I hunted since I was 8 years old. And one of the things that I was taught, it was you follow the law, right, first, and then you do the right thing, whether you're alone or whether you're with somebody, whether somebody's watching you or whether they're not. So here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he started shooting at the elk. He knew he was going to hunt. And then he went to Walmart after he shot and he bought the license. I'm sorry, that is planned. And the reason why the other states there's reciprocity is because a lot of people, they go into different states and they do the wrong thing because they can get away with it. It's easier for them to do so. So the reason there is reciprocity from other states is because we're trying to stop that illegal take of wildlife across the United States, not just in the state of New Mexico. If we look at wildlife management, I mean, what is what we do, right? We don't protect the species just in one group. We do it as a species, correct? Diversity. So the impact is huge. I know the impact is big. Only 4 animals, and it was planned. He knew what he was doing. That is what it bothers me. And that's the reason why it went so high. So whether it goes for one state or 13 or 15 states, well, good. Those states will be protected because I don't know what that person has done in other states. So that's that. And then it comes to a question, thinking about this, looking at what the court did, is the Department of Game and Fish, I don't know why the decision of the court is so lenient, but is the New Mexico Fish talking to judge on what is the impact of those criminal offenses towards wildlife.
Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, we certainly are. I mean, we have a lot of rural communities. Our officers do speak with those, the judges, and it's not just a New Mexico problem. Recently, I was at a work conference, and it's across the country, people dealing with this, and there's a lot of like SCI, Safari Club International, is fronting a campaign to better educate the public as well as prosecutors and judges to pay attention to what we're really losing here. Because when you really start putting the money, the monetary value to what our wildlife is worth, it really, it's alarming what is being stolen from each state when poaching occurs.
So, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Director Sloan, Commissioner Clemente, are you recommending the 10 or the 40 or the 20?
I had recommended the 40, but
You're
as Commissioner Witt mentioned, 20, that it was a good, I will say at least that.
Commissioner Witt.
I had a question, a point of clarification. I thought in what you read that I thought, I wasn't clear whether this person did pay restitution. You mentioned that they did, but I thought there was a civil suit. Can you clarify that? You know?
So there was $0 in fines with that. We have not gotten our civil with him yet. We're waiting on the finalization of the case and the revocation. Right now, he's looking between $10,000 and $12,000 in civil restitution toward the state. One of the 7x7 elk scored out at our officer scored at 301 and some change. That's close enough to the 300 threshold that they want to get it officially measured. So they're going to go to a master measure and have that officially measured and then file that civil with the individual.
Thank you. And I just want to add that I really agree with all the comments that Fernando made, and I think it's really important in this case that we raise the level of the penalty. The account that was read showed such deeply irresponsible and deeply criminal behavior that I think it's really incumbent on us to do that. I mean, I thought it was really disturbing. And also I will note that one of the quotes from the individual mentioned that it was his last day here. That's indication of planning to me. That's not indication of last second bad decision.
Incorrected. So with
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, I think we need a motion. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, you could do a single motion approving everything with changes or you can do a motion relative to the revocations with whatever changes you would like, but yes, you will need a motion.
Well, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez has one more case that he just quickly wanted.
Daniel Pennington happened in the Gila?
Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, that is correct.
Daniel Pennington happened in Clayton.
In Clayton.
Aaron Tuffle happened in the Gila.
Okay, let's go over Daniel Pennington. And can you just give us a quick synopsis on that case?
Yeah, that one's, I'll, if you have more detail, I've got a basic of it, but an individual, it's a big time waste of game. There's 2 felony waste of game charges there. This is a hunter that shot and killed 2 mule deer and just took the head and left all of the meat.
Okay. I was just hunting mule deer this past weekend in Unit 4. And we weren't successful, my daughter and I, but to know that someone shot him and just took the head. We had a similar case, I don't know if the department knew about it, where on Highway 84, someone took a head of an elk and just left it on the side of the road.
I remember that.
This is just maybe a couple of weeks ago. And now this guy did the same in Unit 4, in Clayton, and left the meat there. So with that being said, I don't know if we can increase Mr. Pennington from 10 to 15 years, being that there was actually 2 animals. Did he have a license? No? No. So he had planned that and was planning to probably sell them or what have you. And I can tell you, not having a deer or not getting a deer this year in this hunting season, kind of disappointing, but it was fun. But knowing that people are wasting meat is not fun and not cool. And I don't know, on the other case, was that meat salvageable for Mr. Lester? Would that be able to be?
Yes, it was. It
Okay.
was sold.
Okay. And unfortunately, this one probably wasn't be able to be sold because he just left them there. So they were probably, or were these able to be salvaged as well?
These were salvaged.
These were salvaged as well.
Officer
Okay.
got there within.
Okay. Although we were able to salvage the meat and help someone in need, I still think that it's egregious enough to increase the penalty up to 15 years for him. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
any commissioners have anything to say about Mr. Pennington and his recommendation? Anybody else have anything to say? No? Well, I'm in agreement with Commissioner Lopez. Nothing makes me madder than wasting game and shooting something and just taking the head. So I would recommend 15 years as well.
Chair, Commissioners, Director Sloan, and Colonel Semple, and members of the public. Director, you're a wonderful secretary for the commission. Would you please assist us by recapping the motion that we would like and to close up agenda item number 5 on revocations?
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, I think the chair may have one more he'd like to discuss.
Yeah, I do have one more, and that is Aaron Tuffle. And I think that was in the Gila, is that right? Yeah. Could you go ahead and describe that for me?
In this case in particular, I'll try to sum this up. There was 4 individuals, 1 juvenile, 3 adults. They went hunting on a youth hunt. The youth individual shot an elk with the muzzle loader initially, didn't kill it, followed it up with a 270 scope rifle shot that killed that elk. Everyone loaded that elk up in the back of the pickup, took it back to camp. And actually that night, this Aaron in particular shot at another elk with a muzzleloader. He did not he had a license for the next week, but he shot at that. They did not tag that the youth kids elk, because they were going to utilize that tag for Aaron. They got back to camp. The next morning they went out. The youth kids stayed at camp with his elk, but they utilized the tag, went back out and tried to fill it as well. He shot at one earlier that morning, missed it. And then the elk in particular that the officer caught him with was shot. They were all shot with a muzzleloader on that one. And when they were loading it up is when the officer made contact with them. And they, long story short, lied to him about where all the elk were and what happened and whose tag was whose. They said the kid shot the second one. When we found out later, he had already harvested. So, and it was a cow elk on this one.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else have anything to say about anything else with their vacations? So, motion to change with in general, right?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think you could make a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda with the changes of moving Crement to a 20-year revocation and Pennington to a 15-year revocation.
So if I think based on what we did last time, Mr. Chair and Director Sloan, Commissioners, I move to accept the revocation recommendations as submitted by the department with the following exceptions. 1, Mr. Remit to 20 years. 2, Mr. Pennington to 15 years.
I will second that motion.
Chair, Vice Chair, we also discussed that Tufel one. Did you want anything done with that one?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, thank. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Colonel. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, we'll still need a motion on the remaining items on the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Director Sloan, and members of the public, I move to approve the fiscal year 2025 depredation and nuisance abatement report as presented.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. And is our consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, if we're gonna do these individually, we'll need a motion on the minutes from our August 28th meeting and a motion on the disposal list.
Can you?
Yes, Director Sloan, I think I'm going to combine them into one motion, if that's okay?
I think that would.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Director Sloan, I hereby move that the commission adopt the minutes from the August 28th, 2025 meeting and the annual depredation report as submitted by the department.
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, I think you're looking for approval of the minutes and approval of the disposal list. You've already done the depredation report.
Okay, I repeat, my motion is to approve the minutes from the August 28th, 2025 meeting and the disposal list as provided by the department. Thank you.
I second the motion as stated.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Aye. Mr. Chair, may we take just a 5-minute break, please?
Okay, Commissioner Kamiki, 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Fisheries Rule 19.31.4 NMAC, Manner and Method Rule 19.31.10 NMAC. This will be presented by Chief Patton and Colonel Semble. Just Chief Patton. This hearing will please come to order. My name is Richard Stump, Chair of the Commission. I will be serving as a hearing officer and be advised by the Commission's counsel. The purpose of this hearing is for the Commission to receive public comment on repealing and replacing the Fisheries and amending the Manner and Methods Rule Title 19, Chapter 31, Part 4, and Title 19, Chapter 31, Part 10, New Mexico Administrative Code, respectively, which will become effective on April 1st, 2026. This hearing is being conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Game and Fish Act and the State Rules Act. This hearing is being audio taped and video recorded. Anyone interested in a copy of the audio tape or video recording should contact Darren Vaughn with the Game and Fish Department. Public notice of this hearing was advertised in the New Mexico Register, the New Mexico Sunshine Portal, and on the department's website. Copies of the proposed rules have been available on the department's website. Those wishing to comment here today must have registered to submit public comments. The rule hearing will be conducted in the following manner. Staff will present pre-filed exhibits. Exhibits admitted into evidence are available for review by the public on the department's website. Participants are asked to wait until they are called upon to speak. In order to ensure that the hearing is accurately recorded, only one person at a time shall be allowed to speak. Any person recognized to speak is asked to identify yourself by name, who you're affiliated with for the record each time you are recognized. Speak loud and clear to accurately record your comments. After a person is offered comment, they will stand for questions from the hearing officer. The audience may also ask questions of anyone offering comments after being recognized by me. This hearing is not subject to judicial rules of evidence. However, in the interest of efficiency, I reserve the right to limit any testimony deemed irrelevant, redundant, or unduly repetitious. The Commission may discuss the proposed new rule after the public comment portion of the hearing. Final Commission action, including adoption of the rule, may occur after the conclusion of the presentation and public comment period of the hearing. In the preliminary matters of hearing item number 6, Fisheries and Manner and Method 19.31.4 and 19.31.10 NMAC, this hearing is now open. Do you have any exhibits, Kirk?
Good morning, Chair. Yes, I do have 6 exhibits I would like to enter into the record.
Exhibits 1 through 6?
They are, just for the record, they are the copy of the rulemaking notice that was published in the New Mexico Register, the clean and red line version of the proposed rules. Technical information relied upon in making of these rules. Summary of the proposed changes, which was published on the department website. A copy of all the public comments received along the way, as well as a copy of my presentation today.
Thank you, Chief. Exhibits 1 through 6 are admitted into record. Please introduce the proposed fishery rule followed by the proposed manner and method rule. Kirk, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you very much for having me today. I wanted to start off with a preliminary clarification regarding the past several months in the development of this rule and the manner and method rule. Since last spring, the department has presented to you the fisheries rule as well as fisheries related topics in the manner method rule. During that same time period, Colonel Simbal was presenting concepts related to the shed hunting portion of the manner and method rule. For administrative efficiency, as we saw the two processes for the shed hunting rule and the fisheries related changes to the rule, we were planning on presenting to you one rulemaking hearing today. Based upon some differences in language, we decided to pull the shed hunting consideration from you today. Colonel Simbal will be back in front of you at your January meeting to proceed with that part of the manner and method amendment. So I just wanted to clarify that because we did in fact do the rulemaking hearing publication with all three of those elements. So just want to make sure it's clear for the public and for yourselves. So as you stated previously, the department has been developing updates to the fisheries rule over the past 6-7 months or so. The fisheries rule, like other species rule, is on a 4-year rule cycle. It is set to expire on March 31st of 2026. So we need to adopt a new rule with proposed changes that I will get into in a minute. As well as it's customary that we include fisheries related changes to the manner and method rule. So that's why we are presenting both of these rules for your consideration today. As I indicated in previous presentations to you on this topic, not long after the previous rule was adopted by the commission, we start getting comments and suggestions from both internal and external stakeholders. We continually update our databases in order to develop this rule. So this is years in the making. You've seen this slide before. These are several of the proposed changes that we are recommending for inclusion into the new fisheries rule. Briefly, we are recommending updating the definition of barbless lure fly to be consistent with the manner and method definition. We are also recommending the addition of 3 new native trout conservation special trout waters, that being Jacks Creek, Upper Rio Chiquito, and the Rio San Antonio Upland Lagunitas Lakes. If adopted, the new regulations for those waters would be catch and release only for native Rio Grande cutthroat trout, limited terminal tackle to barbless lures or flies, as well as unlimited harvest for non-native trout that are encroaching in those areas. This has been relatively popular with the public. They can actually go out and participate in the conservation efforts for our native trout. Next proposal is to remove specific references to Santa Cruz, Bonito, Monastery, and Springer Lakes for a prohibition of ice fishing. We feel like it could be handled through local signs rather than having to worry about differences in named waters that were closed to ice fishing in both the manner and method rule and the fisheries rule. At the urging of our law enforcement division or field operations division, they asked us to add a definition of special trout water to better, I guess, document the significance of those fisheries under rule. And based upon public comment we received, we are also recommending that the commission include a change to prohibit fishing from the Crusher Hole and the Texas Hole boat ramps within the San Juan tailwater trout fishery. Moving on to the manner and method proposals, similar to the fisheries rule, we were recommending clarifying the definition of barbless lure fly, removing specific references to prohibitions for ice fishing, We are also recommending to include a prohibition for using bait fish within the BLM overflow wetlands. This would, I guess, heighten or reduce the potential for unwanted bait fish to be introduced to those areas. It's critical for Pecos pupfish conservation down near Roswell. We're also proposing to allow electric trolling motors at Jackson Lake. We're working on improving boating access in that area with a boat ramp, and so we wanted to make it a little easier for people to get around once those improvements are completed. And probably the most significant in the manner and method proposals this time is expanding the director's authority to modify angling limits, modify methods, potentially close a water. This would give us greater flexibility in being able to respond to fires or long-term drought, so on and so forth, to protect individual fisheries in a more timely manner. That rule does limit the ability to change the rules to just 6 months, during which if we needed to go down that road, we would recommend coming to you with a formal rule adoption, or it would expire after a 6-month period. After we initially presented this to you in April, we had information posted on our website. We conducted 2 virtual public meetings where we had, I believe it was 13 attendees, and got a variety of different comments, which are summarized here. Most of those you have seen before, whether it was clarifying language regarding barbless lures or flies. Some individuals were interested in expanding special trout waters into other areas that we didn't think was advisable at this time. During the formal comment period, as we sought written comments after the rule was noticed in the New Mexico Register, we got 3 additional comments. One was to support the proposals. One was support for the new native trout waters, and one individual opposed closing the fishing access at Crusher Hole and Texas Hole boat ramps. That's all I have for you at this time. Based upon those comments, we did not change any of the proposals in either the fisheries rule or the manner method rule at this time. Again, just for clarity, we are seeking your approval for the adoption of a new fisheries rule, which will go into effect April 1 of 2026. We are also seeking your approval of amending the manner and method rule, which will also go into effect on April 1 of 2026. Thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any commissioners have any questions?
I do have a question. Regarding the fishing from the boat ramps at the San Juan River. Aren't those ramps on state park property?
Chair and Commissioner Lopez, yes, I believe they are on state park property. If they are not, they are administered within Navajo Lake State Park by state parks.
And I think there were just complaints from outfitters, the ones that were saying that it was interfering with their fishing, people fishing in that area. Was it some type of safety concern?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Lopez, it was a potential resource conflict from people setting up on a boat ramp. It also could be characterized as a safety issue if someone's set up sitting there and someone's trying to back a truck in with a dory on it. It could turn into an issue there.
I'm kind of in the middle of the road on that one, because we all know how much it costs to fish the San Juan, or maybe not, but it's almost $800 a day per person on a half-day trip. And that public land in that area is kind of checkerboarded, and we're trying to restrict the public from fishing a public water, a really good public water on those 2 areas, and giving the heads up, I guess, or a better hand to the outfitters there that are making money off the people who are paying the money to go fish, and kind of restricting the public who can't afford that to fish in those areas.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez, just to clarify, it would just be the boat ramp, the physical concrete boat ramp that would be part of that.
So they can fish off the boat ramp.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner.
6 inches to the left of where the concrete is, they can fish there. Okay.
Mr.
So
Chair,
just on the boat ramp, so where the sidewalk ends and the road begins, that's where it's gonna be at.
Mr. Chair, that is my understanding of, yes, of the description.
Is state parks gonna be enforcing that law for us, or?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez, we have been working with state parks to heighten the awareness of this potential conflict. During the development of this rule, I believe they just installed it this week, a large sign saying that these areas are closed to fishing, that the boat ramp.
Before the rule was passed?
Well, this is under their authority.
Okay.
Yes. So they are aware of it. They have, I guess, committed to trying to do a better job of enforcing it. They are continually short-staffed at that facility. And so it is just like enforcement in other areas. It is going to be a challenge, but we feel like with this adoption, it gives our officers more ability to address this resource conflict, as well as hoping that state parks can assist with this as well.
If it's on the boat ramp, physically on where the concrete is, then I see no issue, but if they're gonna be that whole section there, that it's gonna be restricted, I see it's limiting public access for some reason.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez, the way the rule is written, it will be the concrete.
No, then I get it then, because that's how it happens at Abbey Q Lake and stuff, then, okay, I'm okay with it.
And I'm in complete agreement with the department's recommendation on that. I have been a boatman and boat ramps are clogged up. It could be tragic. Anyone else have any comments? Anyone from the audience? Anyone online, Tristana?
Mr. Chairman, no one has their hand raised.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, I would like to move to adopt. May I make a motion? No.
Hang on a second.
Oh, no, not yet.
Not yet.
All of them.
Those that registered and participated in the hearing will be included on the attendance sheet. At this time, the attendance sheet shall be marked and admitted as exhibit number 7. The comments submitted and testimony heard during this rule hearing will be reviewed by the commission and discussed during the open session of today's meeting. The commission will vote on the proposed rule at that time. I would like to thank everyone present for the participation today. Let the record show that this rulemaking hearing was adjourned at 10:23 a.m. Okay, anything else besides making a motion? Anybody like to add? Can I have a motion to approve?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners. I would hereby like to move to adopt the new Fisheries Rule 19.31.4 NMAC as presented by the department with an effective date of April 1, 2026, including potential minor edits required by the state records and archives.
Is there a second?
Also move to second the motion as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, members of the public, I would like to move to adopt amendments to the manner and method rule 19.31.10 NMAC related to the fisheries as presented by the department with an effective date of April 1, 2026, including potential minor edits as required by the state records and archives.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I think you need to vote.
Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
My vote does count. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirk.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Do you want to ask him?
Yes. Could I ask a question? It's something that my second meeting as a commissioner, public meeting, and believe it or not, it keeps me awake. There was this gentleman that he asked, and every time we're gonna have a meeting, I think I gotta ask that question. He presented, he was very concerned of the hook size on the trout. waters. That the trouts, I believe he was recommending at least to be a size 4, 3 or 4, so they will not pass. And he presented that he's seen fish damage, that it will go all the way to their stomach, and that the hooks that they're allowed to use, they were too small. And following up on that, did he ever get a call back from the department? Whatever ended up with his comment?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Clemente, I do not recall receiving that comment. So I would be happy to call him back if I had the number.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner, I believe that was at the Roswell meeting. I believe that, unfortunately, that gentleman has subsequently passed. But that probably is enough of a reminder for Chief Patton to have a comment.
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Clemente, I do recall who that individual was now. There's a whole lot wrapped up into that question about hook size, and really that's going to depend upon the size of the fish, how you are actively engaged in fishing. There's a recent publication out where for years and years there was concern that bait fishing led to increased mortality of fish because you would potentially hook them in the throat and cause, or in the gills and that sort of thing. That study is indicating a lot of it has to depend on how you're actively engaged in fishing when you are bait fishing. So I really can't answer the size of the hook and whether it's appropriate or not, and so on and so forth. But I would love to learn more about the conversation and see what we could answer. So,
thank you for the answer. That I always keep up with people's comments. Believe it or not, this is 2 to 3 years ago, so it stayed on my head. So I just wanted that information. Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder.
Thank you, Chief Patton. Agenda item number 7 will be presented by Chief Liley. Rule hearing, Upland Game Rule 19.31.5 NMAC. This hearing will come to order. My name is Richard Stunt, Chair of the Commission. I will be serving as a hearing officer and be advised by the Commission's counsel. The purpose of this hearing is for the Commission to receive public comment on repealing and replacing the Upland Game Rule, Title 19, Chapter 31, Part 5, New Mexico Administrative Code, which will become effective on April 1st, 2026. This hearing is being conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Game and Fish Act and the State Rules Act. This hearing is being audio taped and video recorded. Anyone interested in a copy of the audio tape or video recording should contact Darren Vaughn with the Game and Fish Department. Public notice of this hearing is advertised in the New Mexico Register, the New Mexico Sunshine Portal, and on the department's website. Copies of the proposed rule have been available on the department's website. Those wishing to comment here today must have registered to submit public comments. This rule hearing will be conducted in the following manner. Staff will present pre-filed exhibits. Exhibits admitted into evidence are available for review by the public on the department's website. After all exhibits are entered, we will proceed to the presentation of the proposed rule, after which testimony will be taken from the audience. Participants are asked to wait until they are called upon to speak. In order to ensure that the hearing is accurately recorded, only one person at a time shall be allowed to speak. Any person recognized to speak is asked to identify yourself by name and who you were affiliated with for the record each time you are recognized. Speak loud and clear to accurately record your comments. After a person is offered comment, they will stand for questions from the hearing officer. The audience may also ask questions of anyone offering comments after being recognized by me. This hearing is not subject to judicial rules of evidence. However, in the interest of efficiency, I reserve the right to limit any testimony deemed irrelevant, redundant, or unduly repetitious. The Commission may discuss the proposed new rule after the public comment portion of the hearing. Final Commission action, including adoption of the rule, may occur after the conclusion of the presentation and public comment period of the hearing. In the preliminary matters of hearing item number 7, Upland Game Rule 19.31.5 NMAC, this hearing is now open. Do you have any exhibits?
Mr. Chair, I wish to submit 6 exhibits. Exhibit number 1, the notice of the rulemaking. Exhibit number 2, the initial proposed rules that were posted to the department's website. Exhibit 3, the presentation that will be given today. Exhibit 4, the summary of our proposed changes that were posted to the website. Exhibit 5, the technical information we relied upon when developing the rule. And Exhibit 6, the 11 public comments we received during the rulemaking effort.
Items 1 through 6 are admitted into record. Chief Lally, please introduce proposed upland game rule.
Mr. Chair, thank you, members of the commission. We started this rulemaking process approximately in April of this last year. Just a real quick, going to go through, you've seen these slides, some of you multiple times, but just for edification of others that haven't maybe seen that. Just a little bit background. What you're looking at here is a graphic of the breeding bird surveys, kind of a survey to try to get at an annual indice. It's not a abundance, but it kind of an index to see maybe what abundance looks like. And what this is a scaled quail. The point of this is you see big fluctuations in these gallinaceous birds, quail, grouse, etc., really tied more to environmental factors. Good years, big booms. Poor years, you see a big reduction. And why I wanted to kind of discuss that is these animals have an ability to really respond to environmental conditions and really respond quick to environmental conditions and have really big boom population cycles. You'll see there, this is scaled quail. If you recall, kind of around 2013-14 in the Southeast, we had some really great moisture years. You'll see those quail just exploded in populations, probably some of our best scaled quail years that we've had since 50s, 60s. And this year might be one of those kind of years too. We had some really good early rains in the Southeast, and I think we'll see a scaled quail increase as well. What we're looking at here is tracking harvest trends with our breeding bird indexes on some of the quail species. But prior to 2006, or excuse me, prior to 2006, we had voluntary harvest reports that were kind of done at random. And starting 2006, we had still voluntary, but it was specific to the species. So you see it kind of tracks a little better, that gray line. What it's showing is harvest tracks population trends. So really when we see a population increase from the breeding bird index, you see harvest kind of track that. And so really harvest isn't really driving the population trajectories of these, but you see that trends are tracking fairly well. Harvest with when we have high populations of quail, we have higher harvest, etc. I think one of the other important points, looking at it, some of the public comments kind of discuss, well, maybe we could reduce bag limits to get at increasing quail populations. And really biologically, we don't think that harvest is impacting the populations. It's really driven more by environmental conditions. What you see here is a data lump from 2014 to 2024, 10-year time frame, looking at hunters that harvest over the total of the season. So November 15 to February 15, you'll see 85% of people submitting their harvest reports harvest less than 15 quail over the entirety of the season. So not 15 a day. The bag limit's 15 a day, but the entirety of the season, they're harvesting 15 or less. Very few people that are harvesting more than 15 birds. You'll see really in a season, and scaled quail are going to be our more frequent birds in the East. Again, that's really driven by that really good years of 2014, 15, and that's when we saw the biggest scaled quail harvest, but very few hunters harvesting more than 30 birds in a season. You're talking maybe 1 to 2 hunters that are actually harvesting even over 100 birds in a season, and that's going to be scaled quail. So the very vast majority of this are harvesting less than a bag limit over the entirety of the season. So not a lot of harvest occurring. One of the proposed amendments that we had and we've discussed is splitting our grouse zone north and south. We do have dusky grouse in the Gila. Populations are not as high, so we are proposing splitting that and changing the bag limit. Harvest could potentially drive local populations there. We're talking not a lot of birds in the Gila. We're proposing 1 bird a day, 2 in possession. We really don't actually see that much harvest reported out of there anyway. We're talking less than 15 birds harvested on reports in an annual basis. But just to make sure we don't have really localized population impacts on maybe 1 or 2, reproducing grouse areas. That's just the graphic of where we're proposing that. The majority of our grouse harvest does occur in the Sangre de Cristos, with the next probably following up here in the Jemez Mountains, where is our next more harvest. We're also, like we do at all of our rule cycles, we adjust the calendar or our hunt dates according to the calendar creep. You get 1 day forward. So we have a lot of hunts that start on Saturday. We have to adjust those every 6 years because of the leap year. And then creating a new special draw pheasant hunt on Jackson Lake WMA for a youth only hunt, and then opening in some WMAs for upland game and grouse and squirrel, for example, Bluebird, Pine River. That Bluebird's here in the Jemez Mountains, Pine River's up by kind of Navajo, and then Double E, Elbar, Navajo River Ranch for quail hunting. Double E is down in the southwest, Navajo up north, and then River Ranch is in the southwest as well. And Elbar is the newer property that was acquired just outside of Grants, north of near Mount Taylor. Here's the proposed hunt dates for pheasant. And then in terms of public comment, we did host 2 public meetings, virtual hybrid meetings, 1 in Albuquerque, 1 in Las Cruces in May. And then we also had a specific meeting with Quail Forever, and you could see the number of people that attended those meetings. We did receive, as I mentioned, when we submitted exhibits, 11 comments during the rulemaking process. That doesn't mean that people just commented on one thing. So I'm going to kind of summarize the comments for you here in a second. So you might have had one commenter's comment on 15 different topics. So that's why the numbers don't add up to 11 that we'll get to here in a second. But the biggest comment we heard from everyone was trying to make harvest reports for small game mandatory. If you recall, our game hunting licenses is required to put into the draw. Game hunting licenses allow you to hunt small game. I would say the vast majority of people that buy those game hunting licenses don't go out small game hunting. So what we've kind of talked about, instead of a mandatory harvest, and I think with our commenters, is creating more of like a harvest information program that you see for waterfowl. To when you buy that license, ask those licensed buyers at the time, do you intend to hunt small game in New Mexico the next season? And that we could do a follow-up survey with those individuals to see, did you actually go? If you went, what was your harvest? To kind of get at a better idea of, instead of that pure voluntary, those that went hunting, those that harvested are giving us our reports, we could look at, did you actually go? If you went, were you unsuccessful? Where did you hunt? What species did you hunt, et cetera? So I think it'll give us more data on the hunter aspect of hunter actions, not necessarily help us much more with the biological, but more on how hunters are behaving, how they're hunting, where they're hunting, what they're hunting for. There was some support for some grouse or the proposal for us on lowering the grouse limits in the south. You'll see that was the next most common comment. And then you'll kind of go down. There was some other comments, some people asking for making sure quail opener doesn't overlap with the deer opener. Again, we open deer on a Saturday. We always open quail on November 15th. So rarely does it happen on the 15th, but sometimes it will. And that's something we would look more in the deer rule. And then a couple comments on reducing harvest limits. Again, we kind of discussed that harvest limits I do not think are driving our population dynamics in these birds, will not impact population levels. And so a reduced harvest just reduces opportunity, but not having a biological impact. Comments on the potentially delineating a new grouse zone east-west in the south. There really are not, there are not grouse in the Lincoln Mountains, the Sacramento Mountains. It's open, but there's no grouse there. I think there was just people wanting us to close that, but if you want to go try to find a grouse in the Sacramentos, you can, but you're not going to because there's no grouse there. And then some comments about trying to have a very small reduced grouse limit around Pecos. Again, we didn't think it was a population impact that we would recommend. In fact, we're actually seeing more grouse at higher elevations where we would have used to seen more ptarmigan. We're seeing more grouse above timberline more nowadays, probably trying to get out of the heat on some of that. And then these, I'm not going to go through every one of those, but you'll see there's a lot of comments, single comments. Some of them are applicable to this rule. Some are even not even applicable to this rule. Some of them are counter to each other, such as release more pheasants, where one says don't release any non-natives. So it's kind of just a whole mix of different comments. Again, we received 11 comments from 11 different individuals, but some people had multiple comments. And with that, I would stand for any questions.
Thank you, Chief Lively. Do we have any questions from anybody in the audience or comments? Okay, thank you, Jesse. You want to come on up?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Thank you for the presentation, Chief Lively. This comment.
Jesse, can you go ahead and identify yourself for the record since this is a hearing?
Absolutely, yes. Sorry about that, Mr. Chair. Jesse Dubell, New Mexico Wildlife Federation. This comment pertains to tightening up the rulemaking process, specifically with regard to the way that public comment is handled. This comment is going to be very similar to one that was made at the last commission meeting by Kerry Romero from the New Mexico Council of Outfitters and Guides. And I normally don't read these comments, but being that this is being read into the record, I want it to be accurate. So bear with me as I read this. The New Mexico Wildlife Federation protests that the Game Commission stands ready to give final approval to the Upland Game Rule without having afforded the public any opportunity for meaningful public involvement. By failing to give any real consideration to public comment, the Game Commission has failed to follow the letter and the spirit of the state law that spells out the legal procedure for adopting rules. The commission opened the rulemaking process in the spring and solicited public comment. At the August meeting, Game Department staff recommended that the commission adopt the Upland Game Rule without adopting changes suggested by the New Mexico Wildlife Federation. It was clear from commissioners' comments in August that you weren't familiar with the written comments that our group submitted before the meeting. Department staff said at the August meeting that there wasn't time for the commission to consider certain proposed changes from NMWF because any changes would require re-advertising the proposals for public comment. And today you're ready to enact final rules that will stand for the next 4 years without ever having taken time to consider our comments. The Game Commission needs at least to consider public comments that recommend changes to draft rules before accepting staff recommendations to disregard them. The Game Commission next year will be considering the elk rule and other rules. The New Mexico Wildlife Federation will be watching carefully to ensure that the commission affords the public a meaningful opportunity for comment and real involvement in the rulemaking process. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Anybody else from the audience? No. Commissioners, do you have anything you'd like to discuss?
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, Chief Lively, and members of the public, I would also agree with the concerns that were just stated. As a inactive lawyer with the New Mexico State Bar Association, and for one who has served as an attorney for the last 40 years, the issue of following the process and accepting public comments in an appropriate way is very troubling to me. And I think that moving forward into next year's rulemaking, I think we need to be very mindful of what was just presented. And I suggest that we take a more close look at public comment and how we proceed with the rulemaking process. That's all I have to say.
I'm in agreement. I think that if we could be a little more proactive with public comment input to the commission itself with in a timely manner, so that there's a lot to go through, you know, it'd be good to have something like that. And I don't know how we would set that up, but something we should definitely look at. Thank you.
Oh, comment. A question. I mean, are we talking about the process that the commission over reviews the comments? Or are we talking about the process, the opportunity that the public has to provide those comments? Those are two totally different things that we're talking about here.
Well, I think we're talking about both.
Well, okay.
Commissioner Witt, I can see you thinking over there.
Yeah, I just want to thank Mr. Dubell for his comments and thank Chief Liley for the presentation. And I wonder if I could follow up a little bit, just ask you to expand on a couple of the public comments, specifically with respect to quail. I mean, you presented this very compelling data about the BBS and quail harvest being tracked. And I want to know if that specifically applies to the Montezuma quail, or if that's more relevant to the scaled and Gamble's quails that are more widespread in the state.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Witt, as you may or may not know, BBS really on Montezuma is just the way the birds are. They're not really, they're not observable. Call counts are not as much, and where they live are kind of not along roadways as much. So the BBS survey index probably is not as much. We do track harvest though. And so we look at what our reported harvest is. That's not to say that we wouldn't be more concerned with Montezuma. I think summer monsoonal rains is really where Montezumas are tied more to, not as much as early spring like Gambles, but absolutely are tracking it. They're more isolated in the mountain ranges. We did have a partnership kind of research study with Texas Tech University not too long ago, actually out in the eastern part in the Capitan Mountains on Montezuma quail. So not necessarily the core that everyone thinks about. And so we do look at some of that mortality on that. They were marked birds was not harvest driven. It was almost all climatic driven or predation. And I don't know if we had any birds actually harvested of our marked birds out of that. So definitely looking at other aspects of Montezuma quail biology.
Okay, to follow up, so for now, you think that the limits should stay where they are for Montezuma quail based on the data that you have?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Witt, yes, I think from our perspective and how many are actually reported harvest, we just don't see much harvest in Montezuma quail overall. I think what we will, and I think what will help us on more of what we're proposing changing, it's not regulatory change, but something that we could do administratively, is getting more information specific down to, like we discussed, kind of a HIP type program like waterfowl, so we could go back out and those that notified that they went and hunted Montezuma, like we could ask questions even like how many coveys did you see? What were the numbers in the coveys, and track trends through time. So that's kind of a way that we might be able to use hunters to help get more data on Montezumas outside of like BBS type surveys.
Yes, and I'd like to specifically commend you for that proposal to add that new data collection. I think that's going to be really, really useful. Specifically, if you can get that level of granular data that you were just mentioning. I'm wondering if you could comment on one other comment. That was the one to restrict out-of-state hunters to 5 days. If you recall, that one was on your last list there of singular comments.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Witt, yes, that was a comment. Biologically speaking, we don't think that would have an impact. It's more on who gets the resource, right? And so from a department perspective on the proposal, that's kind of your seats is that kind of social aspect of it. If we thought that was we're seeing harvest impacts. Let's say if we thought harvest was impacting the population, we need to reduce harvest. It may have been something that we would have come to you with a recommendation of maybe shortening a season or reducing bag limits over totality. Harvest, for the most part, is driven by residents. There definitely are non-resident harvest in there, but the majority of our harvest occurs from resident hunters. So if we thought harvest was driving it, we would maybe look at a season length reduction or a bag limit proposal to you all. This is more on, the comment was more on the commission considering dividing harvest amongst a resident, non-resident class based off of opportunity, that we kind of leave that's a commission kind of decision at that.
Well, am I correct to assume that the data that you're going to be collecting will really allow us to get a quantitative answer to that question about the partitioning between in-state and out-of-state hunters?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Witt, exactly. We'll know more ideas on effort also as well, how many days they're hunting, who's hunting, what proportion, and in general, what percent of non-resident licensed buyers are hunting quail versus percent of resident licensed buyers. Those kind of things will have better ideas.
Great. I look forward to seeing that data when it becomes available. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Witt. Chief Lally, thank you for your presentation.
Mr. Chairman, if I can interrupt, we do have a comment online. He's had his hand
Please,
raised for a little while.
thank you, Tristana.
No problem. Joe, you are allowed to speak.
I thank you to the members of the commission for allowing me to speak today and also for reviewing our written comments, specifically related to the changes directed at dusky grouse. While I am I'm supporting the reduction in the number of birds that can be bagged from the southern proposed region. At this point, I'm not entirely sure that the scientific data there supports it. As it was mentioned earlier, birds are already pretty extremely rare in that area. And even though harvests are relatively low as well, we are not entirely sure what the population status or genetic status is of that population. At the meeting in Las Cruces earlier this year, staff member Casey Cardinal hinted at the possibility that there may be surveys conducted for grouse in the Gila region specifically, which I am supportive of. But until we have such data at this time, I don't think it is scientifically reasonable to suggest that those added harvests are compensatory. In fact, they may be additive. And so I would suggest that the commission consider the possibility of closing the southern region to grouse harvest at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone like to respond to that? Commissioner Witt?
Yeah, I want to thank a member of the public for that comment. I didn't catch the name, but I think it's really important to consider. I just want to mention that we do have specimens at the Museum of Southwestern Biology of this population in the Gila, and we have sequenced mitochondrial DNA from those because there was a very large mitochondrial DNA survey across the range of dusky grouse and sooty grouse that was published about a decade ago. And we wanted to see where they fit into that. And we wanted to see specifically, wanted to test if they're really like a divergent relictual population, and they're not. They fit right into the larger mitochondrial DNA phylogeny. So they've only recently become isolated. They're not, there's no reason to think that they're a distinct population. But that said, I do share the concerns of the comment. Thank you.
Anyone else? No. Thank you, guys. Commissioner Lopez.
We extended it several years ago, towards the end of December. I don't know if we thought of increasing it or starting it earlier.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez, that September 1st date is kind of on fledgling birds. It's kind of why we started there is we think that the birds could go independent if the hen is shot at that point. Any earlier than that, you might, if you shoot the hen, you might lose all the fledglings too. And so that's why that season date is that. The extension on the back end of it would just increase potentially total harvest, but not have the impact of killing a hen that's raising the young. So that's why we start that season there. We wouldn't really propose starting it earlier because of that, the potential consequence on that.
Has the climate change been taken into effect to that study science?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez, yes, and I think we're even seeing potentially some later clutches now too. So it might even push the season almost later. Like, for example, we're definitely seeing birds higher timber, like above timberline, even mixed in with our ptarmigan. And so we were seeing a lot more grouse above timberline in the summertime, raising young in there. And that might be because of forest conditions below, insect hatches, for example, maybe more rainfall. So I think through time, we'll have to consider that. I mean, going back even to the Gila, the population there, that's really probably driving that population more than anything is catastrophic wildfire, and they're burning down spruce. And they're really use spruce a lot in the wintertime. We've seen hundreds of thousands, if not close to 1 million acres of spruce, like mixed conifer burning in the Gila, and that's probably driving that population down there more than anything. But I don't think, if anything, climate change maybe would push season later than it would earlier, I think.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Lopez. Chief Lively. Those that registered and participated in the hearing will be included in the attendance sheet. At this time, the attendance sheet shall be marked as admitted as exhibit number 7. Last one was 7 too. Last one was 7. Okay. The comments submitted and testimony heard during this rule hearing will be reviewed by the commission and discussed during the open session of today's meeting. The commission will vote on the proposed rule at that time. I would like to thank everyone present for the participation today. Let the records show that this rulemaking hearing was adjourned at 10:56 a.m. Anything else, commissioners? Any more discussion?
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, Chief Lively, I'd like to make a motion, if I may. I'd like to move to repeal and replace 19.31.5 NMAC as presented by the department and allow the department to make minor corrections to comply with filing this rule with state records and archives.
Is there a second?
So move to second the motion as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you, Chief Lively. Agenda item number 8, rule hearing, hunting and fishing licenses and application rule 19.31.3 NMAC, which will be presented by Chief Paul Varela. This hearing will please come to order. My name is Richard Stunt, Chair of the Commission. I will be serving as a hearing officer and be advised by the Commission's counsel. The purpose of this hearing is for the Commission to receive public comment on amend the hunting and fishing licenses and application rule, Title 19, Chapter 31, Part 3, New Mexico Administrative Code, respectively, which will become effective on April 1st, 2026. This hearing is being conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Game and Fish Act and the State Rules Act. This hearing is being audio taped and video recorded. Anyone interested in a copy of the audio tape or video recording should contact Darren Vaughn with the Game and Fish Department. Public notice of this hearing was advertised in the New Mexico Register, the New Mexico Sunshine Portal, and on the department's website. Copies of the proposed rules have been available on the department's website. Those wishing to comment here today must have registered to submit public comments. The rule hearing will be conducted in the following manner. Staff will present pre-filed exhibits. Exhibits admitted into evidence are available for review by the public on the department's website. After all exhibits are entered, we will proceed to the presentation of the proposed rule, after which testimony will be taken from the audience. Participants are asked to wait until they are called upon to speak. In order to ensure that the hearing is accurately recorded, only one person at a time shall be allowed to speak. Any person recognized to speak is asked to identify yourself by name and who you're affiliated with for the record each time you are recognized. Speak loud and clear to accurately record your comments. After a person is offered comment, they will stand for questions from the hearing officer. The audience may also ask questions of anyone offering comments after being recognized by me. This hearing is not subject to judicial rules of evidence. However, in the interest of efficiency, I reserve the right to limit any testimony deemed irrelevant, redundant, or unduly repetitious. The commission may discuss the proposed new rule after the public comment portion of the hearing. Final commission action, including adoption of the rule, may occur after the conclusion of the presentation and public comment period of the hearing. In the preliminary matters of hearing, item number 8, hunting and fishing licenses and application rule 19.31.3 NMAC. This hearing is now open. Paul, do you have any exhibits?
Mr. Chair, yes, I do. I have 5 exhibits to submit. Exhibit 1 is a copy of the rulemaking notice. Exhibit 2 is a summary of the proposed rule. Exhibit 3 is a clean copy of the final proposed rule. Exhibit 4 is a copy of the presentation today. And Exhibit 5 is a copy of Senate Bill 5.
Well, thank you, Paul. Exhibits 1 through 5 are admitted into record. Please introduce the proposed hunting and fishing licenses and application rule, Paul.
Mr. Chair, during the 2025 legislative session, the New Mexico legislature passed Senate Bill 5. Senate Bill 5 provides a 25% discount for all license fees for New Mexico residents who receive supplemental nutritional assistance program benefits. The new law requires a commission rule to establish eligibility verification for the SNAP discount. The department has been working with the Healthcare Authority for the SNAP verification process. The proposed amendment to the rule would read as follows. New Mexico residents participating in the supplemental nutrition assistance program are eligible to receive a 25% discount on all licenses as established in 17-3-13 NMSA for the following license year. The department will qualify individuals for the following license year between January 1st and January 10th annually. If not qualified by the department in January, applicants may prove eligibility in person at any department office to have the discount applied. No refunds will be offered for full fee purchases made prior to the verification of eligibility. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Well, that was fast. Any discussion, commissioners?
SNAP program. We worked on for quite some time and it's due. The license fee increase, we all know how that the DDC happened eventually.
Thank you, Commissioner Lopez. Do we have anyone from the audience that'd like to comment?
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, I guess, and Chief Varela, this may not be a relevant comment or a question that I have. I read in today's paper, in the Santa Fe New Mexican, that there's a second special session that's being called for Monday, gathering to extend $30 million in the SNAP food aid during ongoing federal shutdown. I think that this rule hearing and proposed changes to Rule 19.31.3 is very good and very helpful. Director, do you think this would be of interest to the legislature on Monday? And again, I don't know if this is relevant.
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, I think the legislature is aware of it by virtue of having passed Senate Bill 5 and instructing us to give the discount. The rule itself is simply an implementation of that, which I would imagine they're expecting, but certainly we can make them aware. I know we sent the rule to the legislative, it's not finance, it's Legislative Council Service in advance of this, as is required by the State Rules Act. So there has been some notification and we can do additional.
And to follow up with that statement, I agree with what you said, but there's not been any kind of reach out to you, the department, or Chair, Mr. Chair, for any input at the state legislature for Monday's session.
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, no, not specifically.
Commissioner Lopez.
MOU with HCA to see how we're going to verify the eligibility of the applicants through the Aspen program versus our program.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez, yes, we have been in contact with the Healthcare Authority, and we do have, we are working on a MOU currently to receive the data for the verification process to identify individuals who receive SNAP benefits, which includes adults and children. And then we would take that data and match that against our system to see who qualifies for the SNAP discount.
Is Game and Fish staff going to have access to the Aspen database, the HC Aspen database, or are they just going to provide us that info monthly, annually, weekly?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez, they will provide it, they're going to provide it several times before January, but during the timeframe of January 1st to January 10th, that will be the final version. And that is the information that we will use to match their data to our data. If they are not on that data dump that we receive from the Healthcare Authority, then they would have to come into the department office and show their verification.
Okay, that was my question. So if an individual qualifies and applies for SNAP, or applies and qualifies for SNAP, and they're not in that threshold, then they're going to be required to come into the office with proof of benefits to get the discount.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not missing anybody. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lopez. Chief Varela,
I have a question.
Commissioner Comenda.
I think this is really good. I think it's a really good program that is going to support a lot of families. I have heard good things about it. People being excited. My question is, how would the person that qualifies for it, how is he going to hear about this discount?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Clemente, the only way that they would hear about this discount is through word of mouth or through their own verification, their own research. I'm sure that we could put out some information also.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner, so the way this is going to work is if they are in the SNAP database on January 1st, early January, they will come to us. We'll match up the license with the account, and if they go in to buy a license, they will automatically receive the discount. There are those that could sign up for SNAP, say in June, which we would miss. And so I believe the discount will be talked about in the proclamations, the RIB, but certainly we can do a press release and make people more aware of it. We can work with the Healthcare Authority to ensure that when somebody does become eligible for SNAP benefits, they are given information about the discount.
Thank you for that. The reason why I'm asking this is I know several people, obviously, I own an archery shop, and several people comes to the shop and they want to hunt. But one of the reasons they don't hunt is because literally they mention sometimes it's more expensive harvest an animal, process it, do everything, then go and buy a steak. Okay. So with that being said, I mean, we're talking about that there are people that they want to get into hunting and they want to harvest their own food, obviously, but they don't, I mean, how would they know if it's not a hunter? I understand the ones that they already hunt, they're going to know and they're going to come and they will be informed of the 25% discount, but those that it will be great. That will be the push for them to become hunters. That is my question.
And certainly I think that the best way to solve that problem will be to work with the Healthcare Authority so that when you apply for SNAP, you are aware that this benefit is available to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Clemente. Commissioner Lopez.
Mike and Mr. Chair, members, Director, in bouncing off what Commissioner Clemente said and what you're saying, Mike, we strongly suggest that the department ask HCA to have some type of pamphlet from us when they're applying. Well, I don't know if they're still doing paper applications anymore, but you know, when they get the certification letter, that the eligibility requirements, what have information, if you're interested. I know some families don't want it advertised, right, that they're on benefits, but if they're eligible for this specific benefit through Game and Fish, they should be notified. And I don't know if we can do a PR spin so to say, on our website as well as maybe the media. I do know I subscribe to New Mexico Magazine and I see our advertisements in there. Maybe it should be a little bit bigger, but that's a different topic. But something like that so they can be aware and make sure that everybody that's going to be affected can take advantage of this opportunity. I know kids will be liking to fish at a discounted rate once they get of age to, that they need the license, right? So, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Clemente, Commissioner Lopez, and Director Sloan, I echo what was just said, and I thank Clemente, Commissioner Clemente, for bringing that up. I'd be more specific. Can we ask the department for a press release explaining when, if and when this rule change happens? And two, as Commissioner Lopez said, let's update that website of the Department of Game and Fish. Let's have it very clear, and then any other advertising that we have available to us. Those have to be done.
Thank you, commissioners. Anything else? Is anybody online? Just on? No? Okay,
Mr. Chairman, no one has their hand raised.
thank you. Those that registered and participated in the hearing will be included on the attendance sheet. At this time, the attendance sheet shall be marked and admitted as Exhibit 6. The comments submitted and testimony heard during this rule hearing will be reviewed by the commission and discussed during the open session of today's meeting. Commission will vote on the proposed rule at that time. I would like to thank everyone for being present for their participation today. Let the record show that this rulemaking hearing was adjourned at 11:12 a.m. Can I have a motion to approve?
I would, Mr. Chair, I would like to make that motion, please. I'd like to move to adopt the proposed changes to 19.31.3 NMAC as presented by the department and allow the department to make minor corrections to comply with filing this rule with state records and archives.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Chief Varela will also be presenting agenda item number 9, rule hearing, game and fish license permits rule 19.30.9 NMAC. This hearing will please come to order. My name is Richard Stunt, Chair of the Commission. I will be serving as a hearing officer and be advised by the Commission's counsel. Purpose of this hearing is for the Commission to receive public comment on amending the game and fish license permits rule, Title 19, Chapter 30, Part 9, New Mexico Administrative Code respectively, which will become effective on April 1st, 2026. This hearing is being conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Game and Fish Act and the State Rules Act. This hearing is being audio taped and video recorded. Anyone interested in a copy of this audio tape or video recording should contact Darren Vaughn with the Game and Fish Department. Public notice of this hearing was advertised in the New Mexico Register, the New Mexico Sunshine Portal, and the department's website. Copies of the proposed rules have been available on the department's website. Those wishing to comment here today must have registered to submit public comments. The rule hearing will be conducted in the following manner. Staff will present pre-filed exhibits. Exhibits admitted into evidence are available for review by the public on the department's website. After all exhibits are entered, we will proceed to the presentation of the proposed rule, after which testimony will be taken from the audience. Participants are asked to wait until they are called upon to speak. In order to ensure that the hearing is accurately recorded, only one person at a time shall be allowed to speak. Any person recognized to speak is asked to identify yourself by name, who you're affiliated with, for the record each time you're recognized. Speak loud and clear to accurately record your comments. After a person is offered comment, they will stand for questions from the hearing officer. The audience may also ask questions of anyone offering comments after being recognized by me. These hearings are not subject to judicial rules of evidence. However, in the interest of efficiency, I reserve the right to limit any testimony deemed irrelevant, redundant, or unduly repetitious. The commission may discuss the proposed new rule after the public comment portion of the hearing. Final commission action, including adoption of the rule, may occur after the conclusion of the presentation and public comment period of the hearing. In the preliminary matters of hearing item number 9, Game and Fish License Permits Rule 19.30.9 NMAC. This hearing is now open. Do you have any exhibits, Paul, for this?
Mr. Chair, yes, I have 5 exhibits. The first exhibit is a copy of the rulemaking notice. Exhibit 2 is a summary of the proposed rule. Exhibit 3 is a clean copy of the final proposed rule. Exhibit 4 is a copy of the presentation today, and Exhibit 5 is a copy of Senate Bill 5.
Okay, exhibits 1 through 5 are admitted into record. Please proceed, Paul, with the Game and Fish License Permits Rule.
Mr. Chair, the department is seeking a proposal to increase the license vendor fee per transaction to $2, which is up from $1 what it is currently. We also propose an additional carcass tag issuance fee of $1 per tag. During the month of May, the department issued a survey, which we received valuable input, and we also received public comments from July from vendors and also from the public. During the month of July, the public comments, we received 200 public comments throughout that timeframe. 43% supported proposal number 3, which proposal number 3 was no transaction fee for the department, $2 transaction fee for vendors, and $1 carcass tag for vendors. 22% supported proposal number 1, which is the proposal that we are suggesting today, which is $2 per transaction and $1 per carcass tag. And 12% supported proposal number 2, which is $1 transaction fee for the department and $2 per vendor and $1 carcass fee. We have received no public comments since the August commission meeting. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Chief Varela. Do we have anyone from the audience that'd like to comment on this? No one online? Commissioners? Commissioner Lopez.
Chief Varela, can you go back to your last screen and you said 43%, can you touch on that one again?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez, yes, 43% supported proposal number 3.
And what was proposal number 3?
Proposal number 3 was no transaction fee for the department, $2 transaction fee for vendors, and $1 carcass tag for vendors.
Mr. Chair, I'll just say we just approved SNAP benefits for the public in need. And now in the rule, this commission is about to approve that the department, our employees, when they walk into an office, and we've talked about this before, I just want to say it, and they walk into our office to buy a license fee from the department, for our license from the department, we're still going to charge them the fee. We're still charging them when we're doing our jobs. And then when they're online and using our website and printing out on their paper, using their megabytes at their home, we're still going to charge them a fee. I totally agree in supporting small business with charging $2 for a fee to compensate their costs of the system and of their staff, but we're already paying our staff. And I know there's a cost of upkeeping our system. I understand that, there is, I've seen the numbers, but it just doesn't seem right. I've called it nickel and diming. It might not be the right term, but we're public servants. On this commission, we're not paid. Our salaries or your salaries, and I just feel we should, it's a little tax that they come into our office, which not many people do. I mean, our offices are scattered throughout the state. We come in there and we got to fix an issue with a license, right, that we can't do over the phone. And now we're going to charge them $2 to make the trip to our office to print them out a license. And we're still charging them when they're at home. So I'll tell you, it just doesn't feel right. And that's all I say. But thank you for all the work and following our requests in the prior meetings in June and getting the surveys out there and conducting the surveys. When I see 87%, kind of don't feel that. Makes it 43% and 87 people. that were surveyed or that participated, and I do take into account the 44 undecided, I'm undecided when I fill out the Walmart survey at the end every time I go by, depends which Walmart, okay? But and I'll say it, we all go to the grocery store and we forget our bags and we got to pay 10 cents, right? This is $2 that, makes a difference in some people's lives. So whether it's a cup of coffee or donating to Make-A-Wish Foundation, I think we've done the steady. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Lopez. Commissioner Clemente, I think you had something?
Yes, just for the record, I'm gonna sustain on any comments or voting on this item since I own a business that it is a vendor for New Mexico Department of Game and Fish.
Thank you for your disclosure, Commissioner Clemente. Any other commissioners have anything? Okay, thank you. Those that registered and participated in the hearing will be included on the attendance sheet. At this time, the attendance sheet will be marked and admitted as Exhibit 6. The comments submitted and testimony heard during this rules hearing will be reviewed by the commission and discussed during the open session of today's meeting. The commission will vote on the proposed rule at that time. I would like to thank everyone present for their participation today. Let the records show that this rulemaking hearing was adjourned at 11:21 a.m. Can I have a motion to approve?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, I'd like to move to adopt the proposed changes to 19.31.9 NMAC as presented by the department and allow the department to make minor corrections to comply with filing this rule with state records and archives.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman,
Do we
I'm
need to-
afraid we have a problem. By statute, in order for the commission to adopt the rule, it needs a minimum of 4 commissioners to vote in the affirmative. So that motion fails by virtue of not having the minimum 4 vote.
Director, Commissioner Fulfer is not online, is that correct?
No.
That is correct.
Oh, okay.
So are we going to bring this forth in the next meeting?
Mr. Chairman,
Unless, Director, I apologize for interrupting you. Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, can we have more discussion to see if we could convince Commissioner Lopez to change his vote?
I've drawn my line in the sand.
Okay.
Sorry, I can't. I'll say it, I'll explain my vote. The department should not be charging people to come into our office to offer them a service. I understand the cost, but we can work with that cost. We have money in the budget to move stuff around if we need to come up with the cost. We've done it before. I mean, it's not on a lot of money. And we're gonna get a license fee increase next year because of Senate Bill 5. We can prepare for this. That's what the license fee increase is for, to get us out of the red. So we still have time.
And for the record, Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioner Lopez, I value and appreciate what you're saying, but in principle, that is what the department does with pretty much everything else we do. We charge, we have those stamps. We're actually imposing taxes, using your words, already on other business that we're doing. So I disagree with you, respectfully disagree.
Thank you, commissioners. Director Sloan, I need a little guidance on this situation. Are we going to bring this forth next?
Mr. Chairman, I guess the first thing to say is that by not adopting the rule, we will continue to collect a vendor fee that we currently have in rule for both the department and the vendors. So the vendors would not see an increase in their ability to charge a fee. Could we bring it forward at the next commission meeting? Certainly, I guess I would request of the commission what it is you would like us to bring forward for approval if this is not something that you can approve, or would you like us to bring the same thing forward and hope that Commissioner Fulfer is present to provide an additional vote? I don't know how you would like to proceed.
Well, it's, I recollect at the last meeting, we had this conversation, and I thought it was clear that we agreed that we were going to move forward with this. There was a significant cost to do this service at the department. And I don't know, I disagree with you too, Commissioner Lopez. I don't think it's that much money. People spend, you know, $2 on a Coke. And you know, whatever pack of cigarettes cost. So I respectfully disagree with you. I propose that we bring it forward the next meeting, and when we have a full commission at meeting, hopefully. And
Mr. Chairman, if I may add one more complicating factor. Yesterday was the last day to publish a new notice that would meet the timeline for the January meeting. So it would not be until, I don't know, whenever we schedule our next meeting. I think we're probably going to propose late February before we would hear this again.
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, can we take a 5-minute recess and then come back and come forward? I'd like to make some phone calls on this issue.
let's take a 10-minute recess,
Thank you.
and let's meet back here in 10 minutes. Okay, we're back in session here, folks.
Mr. Chairman, I need to correct my earlier statement. After
Sharon,
after more closely looking at the publication dates for the register, it is possible to notice a rule and have it on the January agenda if that's the commission's direction.
I think that's where the commission needs to go with this, so we can resolve it. So do commissioners agree with me to direct the department to bring it forward to the next meeting?
Director Sloan, do we need a motion for that?
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, no, I don't think if the chair feels like he can give direction, I think that's sufficient.
Okay, well, can you do that, please? 19.30.9 NMAC, Game and Fish License Permits Rule.
Mr. Chair, yes, we'll bring it forward in January.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 10 is general public comment. Do we have commenters? We do. Okay, how about Garth Reeder?
Good morning, I'm Garth Reeder, Los Alamos resident. Chairman Stump, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, Director Sloan. As a 30-year resident of Los Alamos and an avid sportsman, I'd like to express my thanks to the department personnel, especially officers Tyler Carter and Ariel Pereaglo, for their support and for developing the background information necessary for the recent passing of Los Alamos County Ordinance 02-373, which prohibits the feeding of certain wild animals. This has been necessary for some time due to the explosion of wildlife that has become accustomed to handouts, have no fear of humans, and have become a public nuisance hazard in general. Hopefully, with proper enforcement, Los Alamos can begin the process of returning our wildlife to the wild, where they belong, for their betterment, as well as ours. With so many deer that have taken up full-time residence within the boundaries of Los Alamos town site, this will take some time, and hopefully effective methods of encouraging them to move areas more appropriate for them can be developed and implemented. And while not on the agenda today, I would also like to take this opportunity to voice my continued support for E+. This innovative system provides the incentives necessary for the management of private lands for wildlife, which is necessary in a state where approximately half the primary elk habitat is privately held. Without this system, not only would there be a loss of critical habitat and migration corridors that complement overused and undermanaged public lands, but also a loss of wildlife that these habitats support. Loss of any habitat in New Mexico is a direct threat to the diverse wildlife of our state. And despite its detractors, E+ provides a huge benefit to all New Mexicans. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on these issues, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Reader. Charlie Trask.
Yes, good morning. Never been to a commission meeting, so it's a first for me. But I was born in Los Alamos. I'm one of the few. There was a military hospital right across the street, and that's where I was born. And I've been hunting and fishing ever since I could walk. So that's been a lot of years. I'll try to make this brief. In 2017, I got cancer, and I am now a staunch advocate of breast cancer awareness. So having said that, before that, I had a lot of health issues, and I am a strong advocate of the mobility impairment rules. I've been fortunate enough, or you might say unfortunate enough, to qualify for a mobility card. For many years, I've had that card. And several times in the past, those cards are good for 4 years. And I just want to point out to the commission that, well, in fact, I sent an email to all of you, and I didn't get any answers. None, zero. I called the department. I didn't get any answers. Your ISPA or whatever it is goes into a black hole. You could call the department, and I did. I put my phone on my desk while I worked, and 2 hours later they answered the phone. So you've got a communication problem that I want to talk about. Initially, I sent all of you a copy. I think that Terzio, Mr. Lopez, your email bounces. Now, that could be a system error, but I don't feel like I'm getting good communication with anybody over there. It's like a black hole, to tell you the truth. And I appreciate what the game department does, don't get me wrong. But I wrote an email about specifically in law, there's a requirement that you have to re-up your card every 4 years. Let's start at the beginning. How do you get the card? You have to have a doctor swear that you're permanently disabled. And trust me, that's not going to make a U-turn. If you get a doctor and you agree that you're permanently disabled, you don't need to come back to that in 4 years. It's a dumb rule. We need to get rid of it. It's the last sentence in the law, and you can find it. If I can take the title. It's in well, it's in the I don't know where I'm at exactly, but
Mr.
it says
Trask,
that every person qualified as an MI shall have their card eligibility expire in 48 months. Blah blah blah. You need to get rid of that rule. This is a burden.
Mr. Trask, we'll look at that. Thank you very much. Your time is actually up.
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
thank you for pointing that out to us. I think that's an important thing to look at. Thank you. Jesse DeBell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Jesse Dubell, Executive Director of the New Mexico Wildlife Federation. Just a couple of quick comments. First, I'd like to deliver a very sincere thank you to Commissioner Witt, who in his capacity as a professor of ornithology last month provided an exceptional presentation on PFAS levels in waterfowl to a concerned group of waterfowl hunters in Albuquerque. It was a really wonderful presentation with valuable information, and Commissioner Witt is doing exceptional work at the university on this particular issue. So I just wanted to thank him publicly for taking the time in his personal capacity to provide that information to the public. It was super valuable. Next, I just want to really appreciate the department and agency staff, Director Sloan, for the implementation of the State Wildlife Action Plan and the beginning process of that. I'm on the SWAP Corps, it's called, working with Dr. Virginia Seamster and a group of other advocates to help support the department and the agency with whatever they need as they work on this implementation. And Director Sloan did a presentation during the interim committee hearing of the Water and Natural Resource Committee up in Taos recently, and it was super well received. Both the implementation of SB 5 and also the work that's being done on SWAP was very, very appreciated by legislators that I spoke with after the committee meeting. So thank you so much to the department for that. As part of the SB 5 SWAP implementation, the department, as I understand it, has recently hired 8 new biologists, which is very exciting news. I'm thrilled about that. They're going to be working, as I understand, primarily on species of greatest conservation need, which is super important. One parting thought I just wanted to leave you all with is I still think it would be really exceptional if we had an entomologist on staff, an actual biologist focused specifically on insect life with a focus on pollinators. I think that's an area that more work can still be done, and I think we're making a lot of strides and progress in that department, but dedicated entomologist would sure be a great addition to the agency. But thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jesse. Author, Michael Author.
I'd like to thank the members of the commission for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I want to recognize right off the bat, I appreciate your community outreach, coming out to the local communities. I've had this meeting on my calendar, I think, since June, and it's a great opportunity to participate in this process. I'm a retired Labby. I'm from Los Alamos. I'm a geneticist by training, and recently I've started to do a lot of blue line fishing. As a blue line fisher, I have visited a large number of remote fisheries throughout the state in this past year. One in particular case that I wanted to call to your attention is a habitat for the Rio Grande cutthroat, a native trout to New Mexico, in an area that is above the Seven Springs Fish Hatchery, past the McKinney Pond, on the Rio Guadalupe. It's designated as a red line trout fishery. It's supposed to hold largely a Rio Grande cutthroat. There's a large sign promoting the fishery as such. It's a beautiful area, but it's largely inhabited by non-native brown trout. I suspect that a large amount of expense went into trying to restore that as a native trout fishery, but that's not what it really is. A personal anecdote, fishing up there, I caught 20 brown and 1 native Rio Grande cutthroat in a 2-day fishing session. And I don't think that's the intention of the expense that was put in to trying to restore that habitat. I also took the opportunity to do a report to the department, and I've heard a lot about expenses and how the work you do costs money, having enforcement officers costs money, doing the environmental restoration costs money, but calling out that, and as a geneticist, I'm a bit of a data geek, and I also do avalanche training, and I understand the value of crowdsourcing to do avalanche prediction in northern New Mexico, southern Colorado. So being a data geek, I wanted to report what I was finding on the Rio Cebolla and sent in to the commission a report. Never heard back, have no idea whether that's of any value to you at all, whether crowdsourced information provides any value to the commission, to the department and such. And that's all I wanted to share with you all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Arthur. Tristana, do we have anybody online?
No, we do not have any hands raised at this time.
Okay. Let's move on to agenda item number 11.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. Right as I said that, we did have one person raise their hand, so I will unmute Ernesto Nunez.
Good morning, Commission and public attendees. Thank you, and sorry for the late raising of my hand. I thought there was a couple more to speak. But either way, I'll try to make it short and sweet. I had sent an email to all the commissioners yesterday, just trying to bring up something that's been on my mind for quite a while. And I don't know if I don't really need to get into it necessarily, but how do I get something on the agenda? Is there a process, or can I just submit something? Is there a deadline to get on the next meeting agenda, the following meeting agenda? I'm unfamiliar and I couldn't find anything in the website to answer to that, to start that process and get that going.
Director Sloan, would you like to address that?
Mr. Chairman, I can give it a try. Certainly, we generate agenda about a minimum of 2 weeks in advance of the commission meetings when we like to get them posted. So we'll be working on that in early December. If you wanted to reach out to me, I can work with the chair who ultimately decides what is or isn't on the agenda. Probably the best thing to do is to email me, and I will talk to the chair about your agenda item proposal and see if it makes the agenda for the January meeting.
Okay, fair enough, simple, straightforward, love it. And I also want to comment, it's my first time meeting, like I said earlier, in the introductions, and it's pretty impressive what you all doing, and I appreciate your work, and keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else, Tristana?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's move on to agenda item number 11, commissioner comments. Does anybody, Commissioner Clemente?
Well, I can start. What on the comments, what I wanted to mention is a little bit of what I've been doing. First of all, I would like to thank all those people that they have emailed me. I apologize to those that I have not answered. Obviously, I just heard some comments that emails were sent and they were not answered, and I apologize. I will look into that. But those people that as well, I tried to answer everybody, but those people that they have sent me emails thanking me and being happy of certain things that I have done with meetings with them and everything. If I don't respond back, it's just I don't want a full conversation, but I do want to say I really appreciate those comments and those emails. Another thing is I've been meeting with different groups, nonprofit organizations, to talk about different stuff on access and different concerns that they have. Other things is I started, and I'm gonna say publicly, I have started working for Southwest University as a professor. So I wanna, that way everybody knows. And then, and as well, last I did attended to some interviews with CBS on regarding what is the militarization zone, national defense zone. Thank you. So he was out there and just explain a little bit of how the sportsmen could be impacted on some of the decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Clemente. Commissioners, anybody else? Commissioner Witt?
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that we do read our emails and particularly with respect to that email from Charlie Trask, which I read and took note of and now have responded to. But I thought his comments and suggestions were really compelling. I hope that's something we can take up, that permanent handicap status shouldn't need to be renewed. It's a very logical improvement that seems like we can make in the near future. And I wanted to follow up because Mr. Dubell's was commenting that I was updating his organization about our research on PFAS and waterfowl, and I will have a public update on that soon. But I wanted to preface that by saying we do have a really nice new data set with about 400 ducks surveyed over 32 years in New Mexico that have all been measured for 17 PFAS substances in their livers, and it's a really comprehensive data set. And I'll say that I'll still be eating my ducks this year, so there's not a lot of bad news from that. And if there is also a top line result that's really good news, which is the levels of the worst PFAS substances are really clearly declining over the 32 years, which is not something totally unexpected because we know that particular compound has been phased out of manufacture. But I think, I'll be having more detailed results to share very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Witt, for all that work and knowledge and sharing that with us. That's a big deal. Will you eat their livers?
No.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Witt. Anyone else? Commissioner Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, as well as staff members present. Just quick comments. As I stated earlier, I was able to hunt Unit 4 this past weekend with my daughter. It was a good experience. So thank you for all the staff who actually took part in making that happen in a roundabout way with our rulemaking and enforcing the laws. Especially shout out to our Northwest District law enforcement officers who are always out there patrolling. I see them, hear them on the radio, get questions by them. They're always, doing busy. And special thanks to, where is Chief Patton? Did he already leave? Yeah. Well, Chief Patton, but his staff at the Parkview Fish Hatchery did a really good job this year, as they always have in stocking all our lakes across the state, but especially in District 3. Got nothing but accolades from members of the public regarding the amount of fish and the size of fish that were being taken out of local area lakes. So special thanks to them. They did a really good job, and also especially managing a lot of those rough roads that those trucks have to go through. So I'm pretty sure there's a couple of flats that happened. And thank you to all staff throughout the department. We won't see you again till January, so I'll just say happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and thank you for all that voodoo that you all do so well. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Lopez. Commissioner Dickey, anything?
Mr. Chair, Director Sloan, Commissioners, I do have a few comments, and thank you, members of the public. Two things that start with the letter C. Communication, that's been an important topic today. And thank you for kicking that off from the public, Mr. Trask. Communication is very important, and I think you heard that in some of our meeting today. Whether we were talking about the SNAP program, the communication, just as an example. I'll echo what Commissioner Witt said. We read every email. And publicly, I would like to apologize for giving the impression that we do not read emails because we did not reply to you. We receive sometimes hundreds of emails, and I don't want to give the appearance that I only listen to one part of the public and then not, I'm not picking and choosing. I read every email. And so I'm going to ask Director Sloan again for assistance, that sometimes with email, I'd like to get assistance from the department on how we can standardize a response to all members of the public. I used to receive that when I was chair, you know, a reply to many of these emails. And so I'd like to let you all know that I'm going to do that again. The second thing, the second C is conflict of interest. I want to say thank you to Commissioner Clemente for stepping aside with his vote today because of the actual or appearance of a conflict because of his vendor status. I want to assure the commission, the department, and members of the public that I and all the other commissioners take our role very seriously. And we are very mindful of that. And then the third thing is not a C, but it's a T. It's transparency. And I want to say thank you to the chair and the director, Sloan, for some of the activities that you're doing. And it's essentially a question because I know that sometimes you have meetings like Commissioner Witt, you know, attending a group meeting. But if you could explain some things that are coming up that might be of interest to all members of the public and the commissioners, for example, the December 11th meeting that's coming up. Again, transparency, if you could.
Thank you, Commissioner Hickey. Would you like to address that, or would you like me to?
Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, excuse me. We were requested on December 10th and December 11th. On December 10th by the Range Improvement Task Force to attend an agency roundtable at the Cattle Growers Annual Conference, and then on December 11th to attend a smaller discussion related to elk management on federal public lands with federal agencies and the Cattle Growers Association. We intend, as we would with any organization, to attend those, to listen and participate. I think those are the two big public meetings that, or semi-public meetings that I think are out there. I'm not aware of any specific other ones other than the executive or the legislative session will be coming up shortly thereafter. And we'll be hard at work at that one, trying to get our budget through.
Thank you, Director Sloan. Yes, the commission, I think we were all received that email to participate, and because of the Public Rules Act, well, we can't all be there. And it's important that some of us are there, so I decided to be at that meeting.
But Mr. Chair, we can attend that. And all of us could attend, and if we attend as a group, we can notice it as a public meeting.
That's very correct. That is true, if we want to do that. So, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, at the moment, it's my understanding that Commissioner Lopez and yourself will be attending, in particular on the December 11th date. If two more commissioners decide to attend, please let me know so that I can provide that notice.
Director Sloan, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I would be interested in participating, but I'm out of state. I'm out of town on that date. And if I did join, it'd have to be via call. I don't know if I could do it by Zoom, but you know, it would be by phone call. And I know the person that was hosting it is not present today, but I will put that on the record.
Thank you, Commissioner Hickey. Anybody else? Okay, so I'd just like to thank staff and the department for all the work you guys do. It's a tremendous amount, and this time of year, it's really crazy. So, and all this work that all our directors have done, all our chiefs, thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate everything you guys do in the world of wildlife. And saying that, we're going to move on to agenda item number 12, which is executive session. I need a motion.
I get to do a motion.
You do the.
Move to adjourn into executive session, close to the public pursuant to section 10-15-1 H8 NMSA 1978 to discuss property purchase, acquisition and disposal pursuant to section 10-15-1 H7 NMSA 1978 to discuss attorney-client privilege and for limited personal matters pursuant to 10-15-1 NMAC.
Is there a second?
Second.
Director Sloan, please call the roll.
Commissioner Witt,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Clemente,
Yes.
Commissioner Salazar Hickey,
Yes.
Chair Stone.
Yes. Motion
Motion-
passes. We are now adjourned in executive session. The commission had adjourned into executive session, close to the public. During the executive session, the commission discussed only those matters specified in its motion to adjourn, and it took no action as to any matter. Are there any motions from commissioners?
I would like to move to present a motion. I move to accept donation on real property in Socorro County, New Mexico, and authorize the chair of the department to take the chair and the department, I'm sorry, to take any and all required or needed steps to complete the property acquisition on behalf of the commission.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Thank you all for attending today. Our next meeting is January 9th, 2026 in Santa Fe at the State Library. We stand adjourned.